Greetings, everyone, and blessings of Imbolc. I'm so happy to be back, and I'm especially happy that Imbolc is on the horizon. Today we have the first sunny day in a long time here, and I think everyone else is probably very much welcoming the spring, which is going to be coming. It's not spring yet. Remember, it is still very much winter time, but Imbolc is a point on the wheel where we know that it's coming. We know it's a reminder that the darkness has gone. We're increasing light every day, and spring is just it's yet to come. It's right on the horizon. We can almost see it. Imbolc is most known for being a Celtic observance, but the ancient Romans, the ancient Brits, many ancient civilizations marked this point. It was a very important point when they knew the light was returning, but also those that were dependent on animals to provide their dairy needs, for instance, or just their meat needs. Imbolc was the time, this midpoint was the time that the ewes were beginning to come into milk, because the calving would be beginning very soon. And that was very important for cultures that had a very limited supply. Most part of the year they didn't have any kind of access to milk, so they had no way to have butter or to have cheese. And we know the Celts, a lot of people maybe not know this, but the Celts, ancient years, thousands of years, we have seen evidence that Celts used dairy products. They ate cheese and used dairy products frequently. They were not lactose intolerant like some people think some of the ancient peoples were. The Celts were not. So this is a very important time for them, plus the lambs. They wanted to get the lambs births before it was time to turn out the sheep into the pasture. So it was really important to those ancient people. But for us, it's important too, because most of us who do gardening, this is the time we're getting all of our seeds started, ready to go out into the garden. We're starting to see warmer temperatures, hopefully. We're starting to see a little more sunshine throughout the day. So it's pretty much important to most of us. For many, Imbolc is associated with the goddess Brigid. Brigid was an Irish fire goddess who was known for her creativity, especially with metalsmithing, her healing, and her poetry. She was a great inspiration, a lot of the poets, the Irish poets. You can use the goddess Brigid in our own practices today for some of these intentions that we set in these areas. We can ask her to assist us. And that's sort of what my husband and I did this year. And I'm going to get to that in a minute. First of all, I want to say that for many, this is also a time of cleansing. It's cleansing the house. My mother used to do spring cleaning about this time. But also it's a good time to cleanse our hearth, cleanse our sacred space, and also cleanse ourselves through maybe meditation, through maybe yoga. We're taking stock before we open ourselves up when the weather is warmer and we're out and about with everybody. We want to become from a place of great groundedness. Okay, so this is a good time to work on setting those intentions that we want to carry through. We want to live the life that is the life of our greater selves. That's what we're after. So I'm going to show you what my husband and I did in that area in just a few minutes. First I want to say that at Imbolc, at all the Sabbaths really, at all the places on the wheel, we usually incorporate some kind of housekeeping. This is my husband and I. This is our personal practice. This is not anything that is required of anybody. But, especially as we get older and we're so busy, we forget a lot of times, did you, do a certain task or a certain chore? We can't remember when we last did it. So often when we have certain tasks we know we have to take, we know that have to be done, have to be accomplished, we set them at certain times. For instance, we water our citrus trees at full moon. We water our sage at full moon. Things that only get watered once in a while, unless there's been rain. If there's been rain recently, we don't water them at all. But if we've gone through a period of drought, like a whole month and had no rain, which is very often the case most of the year, at the full moon, we will give a drink to some of those things that hardly ever require it. And our citrus trees are very, very old. Their roots are very deep and very long. So we really could go without watering them, but to get a better crop, to get the nice juiciest oranges we can, and lemons and limes and grapefruits, whatever, we do tend to do them at the full moon. That's just, it has nothing to do with the moon. It's just a way of our remembering. We do other things at different Sabbats. We do housekeeping chores. And some of them are specific for a specific Sabbat. Others we just do if we haven't done it in a while, like set a witch's jar for protection. We don't do that every Sabbath. We don't always do it at one Sabbath or another. We don't always do it at Samhain. We don't always do it at Imbolc. We do it when we call when we last did it, and if it needs done and we haven't done it in a while, we will do it. This is a checklist of sorts at us for a Sabbath, so we'll remember. But there are two things that we normally always do at Imbolc, no matter what. And the first one is we burn the last of our Yule greens. And by that I mean it is a wreath of greenery that we put on our front door. We put on the front door sometime after Thanksgiving, typically around the very 1st of December. We put it's for Yule, but it's just a simple green wreath that is, we don't adorn it in any way. It's just green, just a welcome in Yule. And all our other Yule decorations, shortly after Christmas or after, into January, those disappear, those go away. Our tree has to come out because it's very, very dry, etc. But our wreath usually stays pretty nice on the front door. But we always take it at Imbolc and burn it. We always take it because that is our way of leaving Yule behind us. Yule is over. It's reminding us Yule is over. It's over. We are on the wheel, and the wheel is moving forward, whether we want to or not. So we have to leave whatever it was that it was Yule. We're going to leave that behind us, and we're going to move forward into Imbolc. We're setting new intentions. We're doing things. Okay, so that is just one way of moving forward. It is a metaphorically burn of anything that we want to leave behind us. It's almost like setting New Year's resolutions, but we don't. We're witches. We set intentions, not resolutions. That's just the way we do it. So I'm going to show you some of the things we're doing for that regard to go along with intentions in just a few minutes. The other thing we do without fail at Imbolc is we burn a corn dolly. Now we usually fashion a corn dolly sometime in, usually Lammas. It's usually for Lammas. Sometimes we don't get it done until maybe Mabon. It doesn't matter. There are 3 harvests. We can do it anytime we want. But the harvest, the ancient people believed that the spirit of the grains were present in the land when they were grown. Once the grains were cut down, they wanted a place for the spirit of the grain to live, to stay safe until it can be returned to the ground. And that was some people's idea of a corn dolly. So they would fashion from the last cut wheat or whatever it was that they were growing. I want to remind you that corn, as we know it, was not grown in medieval Europe. It was not known to them at the time, but at that time. Corn was just a generic term for any kind of grain, any kind of crop that was grown like that. They referred to as corn. But anyway, that when the last of the wheat or barley or whatever was cut, they would take some of that and preserve it for the winter, and then it would be returned to the earth in the spring, when they were first plowing the fields. So this is what the spirit of the corn dolly for us particularly is about. We take that corn dolly, we don't grow corn, but we make ours out of corn, and we fashion it into a dolly, and we keep it safe. We either keep it on an altar or a shelf, or sometimes we put it up over here on our fire, on the mantle over here. She just sits there for the winter sometimes, or we keep her in the parlor. But at Imbolc we will burn her. Now I want to point out a disclaimer. I'm filming this like a couple of days before Imbolc. We're doing some things ahead of time because we're going to be doing a group ritual at actual Imbolc, and we'll be burning a corn dolly there too. But this one is just for our personal intention that we're setting into our own land and our own garden. Okay. The other thing I want to say, I'm going to just now cut, and I'm going to go into a little film clip of what we did do when we were setting a special way we set some intentions this year. But I want to say we were fighting rain. We were outside and we were fighting some rain. So when it came to burning the corn dolly, we had to do the corn dolly inside in our fireplace. But it didn't matter because all of the ash that we have in the corn dolly, when she's burned, that's how we deal with it here. We burn her, and then she goes into the ash, and then that ash goes into the collection of ash that we have from all of our wood fires, inside and out, our cook fires. And I even include waste from an altar, which I can show you right here. I have some in a jar. This is just like the dust that you will get, like the ash that you get when you burn incense or you burn a spell or whatever. You get that little bit of waste. I collect that into a dish. And when it's full, I dump it in with the ash into either the fire pit or the ash, depends on if it's an ash form, it goes to the ash. If it's bits of herbs and things, it will go into the fire pit. Bits of candles into the fire pit, and then that will go into the collection of ash. Then my husband uses several times a year to add protection barrier around our property. And we've shown you that before, and we'll show it again. Because my husband loves to do it, he loves to explain it. So we'll have that again. Okay. But anyway, this is a little out of order because we did have to burn when it came to the corn dolly, we didn't have time to do the corn dolly out there. As a matter of fact, when we shot the video, I hope I'm going to try to piece it together a little bit. Some of the clips from the video, we had to escape a few times and run up into the shelter, get away from the rain, and get the camera out of the rain and things. So, but I want to just share with you what we did this year and make sure everybody remembers, you do your own thing, do your own thing. Do your own thing, but do it. Doesn't matter what you do, just do something. Just do something that resonates with you. And happy, again, Imbolc. Everything is set around our fire pit. We have the greens taken off the wreath that had hung on our front door, and everything is broken into small pieces so that we can burn it without too much flare up. Remember, we're doing a metaphorical burn to release all of the things that we want to leave behind with Yule as we embark on Imbolc. The ritual that we are doing for Imbolc this year involves 3 candles for each of us, representing 3 different intentions that we are going to try to manifest this season. We're asking the goddess Brigid during this ritual to assist us in working on this intention. The first intention, you can see Joe has inscribed a sigil, a special sigil representing that intention for healing on his candle, and now he is repeating the candle. The sigil, he drew the sigil on the palm of his hand with some special oil, and now he's applying it to the candle, which he will light. And he will, with the flame, he will say, I honor the sacred fire within myself. And then he has been meditating on this, and then he will, and I will do the same. I will do the same with the fire. It's a little tricky getting the candles to say that it was cold and windy, a little bit windy, and of course raining a little bit. But we soldiered on. It was okay. But anyway, then he is asking the goddess Brigid to help him meet his goal. He asked for the blessing of inspiration with that candle. And as I do so, and he also toasts, he offers a toast, a libation to the goddess for this request that he makes of her. I'm going to do the same thing with my candle. And when we're asking for blessings of healing, it could be healthy, it could be blessings of health. It could also be, just, uncertainty, depression, anxiety, fear, whatever kind of things that we have that we're sort of suffering with at this time. So I'm doing the same thing here, as you can see, with my candle. And we just rub that oil on, I want to point out. We just rub it on. A lot of people are very intentional with the direction they apply oil to a candle. For me, the intention is within me, and here I have to ask Joe to please help reach it, because I couldn't reach the cauldron there. But at any rate, the intention is within me and within my hands and within my words. It doesn't matter the direction really for this, that I'm going to rub the oil. Okay? And I want to point out that we still, as we go, are going to be adding greens to the fire, which we have to do very slowly. So that's another reason that we have them there with us, that we can burn and do the same thing. And here I ask the goddess to assist me in my, and that's the blessing on my of inspiration upon me for this time. Okay. Now we move on to a second candle. Joe is ready to do a second candle, and a second candle is going to be for asking for inspiration. And this is basically, about what problem we might have that we don't have the inspiration to work on. We're maybe procrastinating on a project, or maybe we just don't have ideas, or we know what we want to do, but we don't know how to move forward. We are asking the goddess for help with inspiration. And with this, he does the same steps. He has a different sigil that he's applied to his candle, as do I, and that he also applied to the palm of his hand. But this time, instead of taking having a toast, we're going to take the smoke from incense. This time we're just using sage. That we're going to breathe that in gently and ask for the blessing of inspiration from the goddess as we do that. Inspiration, remember, comes from the air in the east, right? And that's where we're going to ask for the inspiration of the goddess Brigid. I will be doing the same thing, of course, when I light my candle. Notice our candles are not beautiful. They're whatever we had. We're using some candles. That's okay because they're being reconsecrated with the oil and with our intention. So always use up your candles. Witchcraft is not pretty. Witches are thrifty. They use the materials they have on hand, and I like to keep that together. As a part of this ritual, we are also going to pray to the goddess Brigid, that we may have rulership over our own selves, over our own imagination, our own will, our own emotions, our own body, our own life. We're not asking the goddess to give it to us. We are asking her to assist us in using what we already have. That is our intention. Okay. This is going to be to improve our life. And we're trying to set a goal, a little bit of a goal, with the season of Imbolc for these intentions. These are not long-term intentions forever. They're for the season of Imbolc. And that's what we have for our very last candle. We're going to be seeing Joe pick his last candle up in a minute. And I want to point out that beside his candle, he has a little stone. And as he inscribes the sigil, this sigil is going to be for the craft, something he wants to create in the season ahead. And he not only has his candle, which he is inscribing the sigil for that on the candle, he's writing it on the palm of his hand to consecrate the candle as well. He also has that same sigil drawn on that small rock. We each have one beside us. Well, right now you can see they're both in front of me because we were trying to keep them from the dog. Mine already went in the dog's mouth a couple times. But anyway, he has it on the rock. There he's showing you that they're the same sigil. Because this rock, he's going to actually carry the rock with him in his pocket as a concrete reminder, a material reminder that he is trying to do, he has a duty that he has asked of himself this season to complete some kind of a craft. And I'm doing the same thing. Mine, I don't have pockets normally. I won't be carrying mine in a pocket. But just the same, I am going to keep it close by me at all times. Reminders like this, when we do these little kind of intentions, when we lay these kind of intentions, it's really good to have reminders around us to help us to remember, to keep them in mind, to keep them in our mind and our actions. Okay. And again, here we are throwing more greens onto the fire. Okay, we're just about finished here with this. And at the end of it, we say a short prayer together. 3 blessings have I asked, and now I ask one more. And this is when we ask Brigid to please grant that I may have rulership over myself, that I may do my part to make all the blessings real. And then we, of course, say at the end, so mote it be. Just a very simple, informal ritual. No ritual, we didn't cast a circle. We just very much worked with the tools at hand and the fire in our fire, which is a very important part of life here at the Crone House. Hoof and horn, hoof and horn,
All that dies shall be reborn. Corn and grain, corn and grain. All that falls shall rise again. Hoof and horn, hoof and horn. All that dies shall be reborn. Corn and grain, corn and grain. All that falls shall rise again. We all come from the goddess, and to her we shall return like a drop of rain.
All that falls shall rise again. We all come from the goddess,
all that dies shall be reborn.
like a drop
Corn and grain, corn and grain. All that falls shall rise again. We all come from the goddess, and to her we shall return like a drop of rain flowing to the ocean.
That's good.
Blessed be.